now we have this new technologies like EMDR.
Yeah.
And we both have been skeptical in the beginning.
Right.
It seems to be so easy
Yeah.
and a little bit a strange idea to follow the eye movements. And actually the Congress you are talking here in Heidelberg has a title, Bifocal Multisensory Approaches in Psychotherapy. What is your idea why these techniques are so amazing, effective? It was right from the beginning, everybody is experienced it when he is using it, it's effective, research is proving it now, but we are still discussing here. What is your idea, why it's working?
Actually, you're talking to me too soon, because I did, again, the first NIMH funded study on EMDR and found that EMDR is indeed a spectacularly effective treatment for PTSD. Then we went back to look at the mechanism, and we just finished our study on the mechanisms of EMDR. We did brain scans, we did quantitative EEGs, but we haven't analyzed all the data yet.
So the question is too early.
I can tell you what the hypothesis is, and that is the hypothesis is that eye movements set up 40 megahertz thalamocortical rhythms in between the thalamus, part of the brain that coordinates sensory information, and the prefrontal cortex, which are the same rhythms that the brain uses to process ordinary life experiences. But what's important, it's effective to deal with a particular memory. And of course, a lot of traumatized people are haunted by particular memories, but what is even more pervasive, particularly people with childhood trauma, is that your perceptions are changed and your whole self-concept and your way of moving through the world is changed. And I don't think EMDR gets there because it doesn't really reverse these brain changes that come with chronic trauma. And for that we are, and I'll be talking about it today, our research on neurofeedback, in that you can actually play computer games with your own brain waves and reset neural patterns that have been disturbed by trauma.
So what is the role of hypnotherapy, of ego state therapy in trauma therapy?
Very interesting question. Of course, hypnotherapy was always the treatment of choice for PTSD for the first 100 years that we knew about it. And in the First World War, Second World War, and beyond, hypnotherapy was the treatment of choice. There is outstanding case histories, starting off with Pierre Janin, probably before, up to Milton, Erickson, of people doing extraordinarily effective treatment, particularly because what we have learned is that the most important thing to help move beyond the trauma is the capacity for imagining other realities. That when you get traumatized, you are fixed on your trauma, you are convinced that bad things are going to happen, you're convinced that you're going to get hurt, and so you're always on alert for bad things to happen. In order to get free from that, you need to imagine new possibilities, imagine new options in your life, new possibilities. And there's nothing like hypnosis that really opens up the brain states that allows people to consider new possibilities. We see this in neurofeedback also, that there's a brain state and theta state in the brain, and that's where the changes occur. And most changes in the brain occur in a trance-like state, where one thing doesn't necessarily lead to the other and the pathways are more or less open. And hypnosis clearly does that also.
So I more and more see 30, 40 years ago, there have been a lot of creative things happening in psychotherapy. A lot of new approaches have been on the market. Do you see anything new happening? What is coming the next 10 years?
Well, neurofeedback is
neurofeedback.
Huge. See, the big thing what people find, and people like Tanja Singer here in Germany, they find is that the critical issue of gaining control of yourself is to become mindful. So the mindfulness movement has become very powerful. It's getting very well funded right now. And then it turns out that mindfulness in and of itself is of only moderate benefit, but the issue is mindfulness with self-compassion. Learning to really love what you discover inside of yourself. And I think meta-meditation, loving self-compassion is becoming a very big issue again. What neurofeedback can do is it can actually help people to get acquired brains where they can actually get into a state like that. You can do it with certain drugs, but really achieving that sense of inner calm, inner peacefulness is what we're aiming for these days.